Okay, it is just 4 o'clock here in the UK where I am based. So it's time for us to kick off this month's Trinity College London Transformative Teachers webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone that's joining us live today. I was trying to check in the chat box where people are from, and I think we've got a good range of peers joining us from all over the world as usual. I've seen Spain, Germany, Italy, Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, India, Turkey, Ireland, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and the UK as well. So a really nice international group of people as always. And as always, lots of people are already using the chat box, which is what we like to see. Just before I hand over to our speaker for today, as always, a few housekeeping things for us all. So we're going to be here today for about an hour. There will be time towards the end for your questions as well. This is being recorded, so if you have to leave at any time or the signal cuts out, don't worry. You will have access to this recording through an email in about a week's time, and eventually it will also be on the Trinity College London website. Do play around with all the controls as always, so you get the best view pressing all of those buttons. And speaking of buttons, do interact with our speaker. She's very happy for you to interact. We've got the chat box here. You've got the reaction buttons. You'll see the chat box moves quite quickly because there are a lot of us here today. So if you have any questions that you'd like our speaker to answer towards the end of her talk, then it might be best to use the Q&A, and I'll round up these questions at the end. Finally, in terms of certification, we will also be sending an email out to everyone that's joined us today, which will include a report and a certificate to say that you have been here today, which is great. So just before, again, I hand over to our wonderful speaker today, a brief introduction for those of you who don't know her. So Cecilia has about 25 years of teaching experience and has been a teacher trainer for at least 5 or 6 years on courses that include the Trinity Cert TESOL and the DIP TESOL. She's taught in Brazil, Turkey, and the UK, where she's currently based, and she's pursuing her PhD in applied linguistics at the University of Warwick. And she's focusing on enhancing reflective practices in teacher education. She's here today to talk to us about teaching through peer observation, which is something that plays a big role on both the Cert TESOL and DIPSOL courses and well beyond. So I'm going to hand over to you, Cecilia. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Great to see some familiar faces. Can I share my slides, Simon?
That would be perfect.
Okay. You have to stop sharing yours, I think.
I should, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. Just yeah, please feel free to share why you decided to join this webinar in particular. Is there any specific reason? Are you working with peer observation at your school, at your institution? I'd love to know more. Okay, so yeah, we'll be talking about peer observation, and I will define what that is for those who are not familiar with that. So peer observation is the one method of professional development where teachers observe their colleagues teaching, okay? And there are different formats of that. We'll be talking about that. It could be a live observation where you join the class as an observer. You don't participate, you just observe, and then you'll have a chat. You may also observe a recorded session from a friend. So you receive the recording and then you observe. It could be face-to-face, it could be online. And the aim is enhance your professional development, improve your techniques, improve your reflective practice as well. There are a lot of benefits that we'll be addressing today. Okay, so that's how I define peer observation. So on that note, can you share on the chat box if you have ever observed another teacher teaching, whatever format, okay? face-to-face, online, watching the recording afterwards, joining the live session, the live lesson. Have you ever done that? Or the other way around, has a colleague, has as a friend observed your lesson before, or maybe a supervisor? Share on the chat box, please. Yeah. So Floriana, yes, online and offline. Oh my God, it's so fast. Okay, observe teachers both ways. Many people saying yes. Yeah, great. Okay, okay. And if you have observed a colleague, a friend teaching, what did you like the most? Let's start with the positive things. Okay, what did you like the most about that experience? Can you share your thoughts in the comments? You've been observed. Marta has been observed and observed as well. Ari, the chemistry with the students. Ah, nice. Yes, we observe how that rapport is built, right? When it happens, the techniques. You always learn something. See teaching in action, new ideas. Yes, yes, we learn a lot from other teachers. Great. Okay, wonderful. And I want to start with this nice quote by Gosling. Peer observation is considered to be one of the most valued ways to promote professional development in the classroom. So it is a very valid method. Okay, so I wanted to bring some data here for you to try to win you over if you're not convinced yet. So but we'll be also talking about the challenges of peer observation. Okay. So yeah, but let's talk about the benefits first. And if you can think of other benefits, I'd love you to write in the chat box. So one of the benefits is that it breaks down classroom walls and allows teachers to see others practice, as someone mentioned in the chat box, right? We have the opportunity to see how other teachers address or deal with different issues or different activities. So it's always great, right, to see different practice. You may also feel supported to make changes. And if you see something working well, perhaps, oh, I may want to try that in my own classroom. So you have that reassurance idea, right? It also helps teachers improve their practice in ways that better promote student learning, because that's why we want to engage in peer observation and reflective practice. I think that should be the ultimate goal, to improve our students' learning and learning outcomes, right? The next one, especially for those teachers who are freelance, perhaps you work with private students, you don't work for an institution. It also reduces the sense of isolation. I think teaching sometimes can feel a little bit isolating. Have you ever felt that? If you don't work at a school, perhaps. Yeah, I certainly have felt this way before. Mm-hmm. It also provides opportunities to highlight exemplary practice from other colleagues, and it feels more, you develop more than just a supervisory observation. Yeah. So yeah. Can you think of other benefits that I did not mention here? I hope that you can think of others. Let's see. Very good, Malgorzata. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. She says it gives a chance to confirm what I'm doing right in the classroom. Yeah, that's reassurance, right? Great. Allows teachers to observe any issues that students may have. Yes, yeah, that's true. Excellent. But there are also skills that should be developed in order to really maximize this experience of peer observation, okay? So we can improve those skills. Noticing, how to notice things, especially those subtle actions, subtle techniques that a teacher might take, to describe as well, to describe what's going on without judgment, and discuss changing things if you feel that it's worth a try, and also reflecting. Okay, so besides all the benefits that I shared with you, these are also skills that we can develop through peer observation. Okay, and one observation that I find really, really effective, not the only one, okay, it's one, it's video-based peer observation. Okay, so when when you observe a teacher through video, it could be live, it could be delayed, okay, but it's yeah, you get the recording, or you join the session and you observe through video. There are a few challenges though. So what could be the challenges of video-based peer observation? If you have done that, have you encountered any challenge? So can you share your ideas? Yeah, technical issues, yes. Connection problems, yeah. The observer may not see that what's happening, yeah. The atmosphere, that's true, yeah. What other challenges can you foresee with video observation? Good, yeah. Not full control of the teaching space, that's true, that's true. It can be limited as well, right? Because we cannot see students, you know, moving, or what they're doing on their desks, right? So it can limit our vision a little bit, and therefore perhaps our noticing, yeah. So do you think we can assume that we teachers know how to observe our peers, their peers? Can we just assume? If you were asked tomorrow, hey, Maria, you're going to observe Joseph classroom. That's it. Can we just assume that Maria will be able to observe effectively? What do you think? Is this an inherent talent that we have? According to literature, it's not, okay? We need to be trained to observe other teachers, okay? It's not something that that happens naturally or spontaneously. So, and these are some of my reasons why I like video-based peer observation. So there are no limitations in terms of distance, time zone, right? As long as we align our schedules with the observers and the observees. So this can happen. It also allows for multiple observers for one lesson. It's not, it doesn't limit ourselves to have just one observer, okay? Which perhaps if it's a face-to-face observation, we might have issues with space, yeah, depending on the classroom, the physical classroom. We might not have, you know, enough chairs for multiple observers. So that's an issue. It also avoids surprises, as videos can be previewed before sharing. Yeah, this is good. We cannot do that in a face-to-face observation, right? We cannot edit, yeah, or just try to hide some parts. We can also promote focused observations, as videos can be selected around particular viewing targets. So And one idea, one way of structuring our observation is by using frameworks. And this is one framework that we shared in our book. Very simple one. Okay, I will give you a few seconds to read, but it's basically sets around the background and goals first. So consider the background and the goals for this observation, and then how the observer will collect data, how they will collect, they will observe, they will analyze that, that data, which is the video, right? Another area to be addressed is the logistics, like date, time. Is it going to be live or delayed? How are you going to share the video? You're going to share through Google Drive? Are you going to share through another platform? And also the impact. It's important to discuss the impact of the observation, okay? So this is just one example. These are some cautions for peer observations, things that we need to bear in mind for any kind of peer observation, okay? So it could be very helpful to have a facilitator in case you work at a school, so that who can appoint and guide for the observation process. Perhaps there are some protocols to follow, so it's great to have a facilitator. I always advocate for voluntary participation. I don't think head teachers, managers, they should impose. They should say, okay, you are going to observe these teachers, and so let's schedule that. I don't think this is effective. So I always believe that professional development should be a choice from teachers, okay? Some people might disagree, and that's okay. I think it's important to keep in mind that we need to observe based on facts, not judgment, which is really, really difficult. It's really difficult to step back and not judge, but it's an exercise that we should try to do. Okay, and also decide what you're observing and how to record that. So a few things to make our experience a little bit smoother, I would say. And how can we overcome this observation hurdle and this let's say maybe an extra burden? How can we mitigate that? There are some techniques that might help. Verbatim scripting is basically writing down word by word from what the teachers say, okay? That may be very difficult in a live observation, but if you have the recording, if you have Zoom or even Teams, you get the captions, right? You can you get the transcription of the video. Classroom mapping is basically designing how the classroom is set, the tables, the desks, where the teacher is positioned, where they if they walk around, where they walk around. So it's to map really the classroom. Okay. Tagging is to it's like time stamping what happens at specific from specific time frames. So this is tagging. And tallying is a little bit different. It's how many times an occurrence happens. For example, let's say I want to observe how that teacher deals with corrective feedback. Okay, so one technique is to count how many times the teacher dealt with corrective feedback throughout the lesson, okay? 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, so you start telling, okay? These are some techniques. So if you want to explore video-based peer observation, these are some very, popular platforms that you can use. Google Drive. I know Google Drive has a limit of the free one is 15 megabytes, I think, which is not much storage. For example, I myself, I buy extra storage, so I have 200 megabytes, so a lot, because I have lots of files and videos, etc. So and it's not expensive. It's £2 a month, around £2 a month. Okay. So Google Drive, I really like Google Drive. I think it's easy to share and to receive the, I'm going to talk about YouTube, Fajarudin. Yeah. YouTube is the second one. Very good, very good. So Google Drive is one to store your videos. As our friend said, YouTube as well. So if you may create a channel and you can upload your videos as unlisted. So it won't be searchable, okay? That's another free platform that you may want to try. Just make sure that when you upload, you tick that box, unlist video, okay? So nobody will see, just you, if you share the link, all right? Microsoft Teams, I know that this is usually, Microsoft is usually used by institutions. So if you have the chance, it is a great, in my opinion, it's a great platform for storage as well. I'm not sure how much space they have for storage, and Dropbox. Okay, but I would say my favorite one is Microsoft Teams and Google Drive. These are my favorite. Have you used any of them? YouTube, yeah? Have you used any of them? Yeah, you can also use YouTube as, yeah, very good. I forgot. Yeah, private. You can keep the video private. Yes. Sorry. Okay. Now, any questions so far? YouTube. Yes. Okay. Now, I'm going to share some suggestions on how you can get started, because you may think, okay, great, I want to get started tomorrow. What can I do? Okay, I'm going to share some suggestions and good practice with you. Okay, if you want to get started with peer observation. Oops, sorry. Oh, yeah, the first one. Okay, so yeah, before observing a colleague's lesson, I think it's very helpful to choose a focus area, okay? Whatever focus area that you would like to perhaps improve, or if you know, let's say that your friend is great at building rapport with their students, okay? So you may want to focus on, how can I build rapport with my students online? With my, I have so many shy students. How can I build rapport with them? So choose a focus area, okay? Why? This helps prevent feeling overwhelmed. If you don't choose a focus area, you may think, oh my God, what am I going to do? What should I observe? It's, yeah, so it's too much information. So yeah, I think it's really, really useful, really important to choose a focus area. And these are just some examples. Can you give me other examples? So you may want to focus on the lesson structure, the stages, the timings, perhaps, yeah, or maybe one specific stage, let's say the leading, or I want to focus on vocabulary teaching. Okay, how can I teach vocabulary? How can I clarify meaning? How can I elicit meaning from students? You may want to focus on that. Another area, teacher talk and student talk. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Excuse me. Do I talk too much? Do I talk more than my students? Do I give space for them to talk, to ask me questions? So you may want to observe that as well. Some techniques like eliciting, questioning, how a friend addresses those techniques, how they do it. You may want to observe classroom interaction. Yeah, are students working individually, in pairs, in groups? What works best? How am I using the breakout rooms, for example? Yeah, do I use breakout rooms a lot? Do I do most of the activities in the main room? So you may want to observe that. Error correction, feedback, the feedback session. So what kind of techniques or strategies does my friend use, and what do I find useful? What do I find effective? Yeah. Fluency, yes, yes. Ah, very good, Simon. Time for emergent language. Love that. Yes. How do I deal with emergent language? Do I respond to students' questions on the spot, spontaneously, or do I kind of ignore that? Yeah. So there are so many interesting areas to focus on, right? It really depends on your objective, on the areas that you want to improve. Very, very good ideas. Yeah. Students' mistakes. Yeah. But also students' good use of language, right? Not just their mistakes. I think how they use language, how well they use language as well. Oh yeah, L1 interference. Yes. Yeah. If we talk about error correction, there are so many sub themes, right, in regards to error correction. CCQs. Oh, I don't like CCQs, but yeah, CCQs. Very good, very good. Okay, so this is the first step. Okay, this is the first step. Choose a focus area. Okay, it would be very. I have to say, it would be very difficult to engage in peer observation without choosing a focus area to begin with. Okay, so this is the first step. The second step, to remind yourselves, okay, to keep it low stakes and supportive. I could not emphasize this more. So I think we have to remember, yes, that we're doing that to support our colleagues and for our own development. So peer observation is about learning together, not judging. Okay, not judging each other. If perhaps you're observing a friend and they ask you to give you feedback, yeah, because they might not ask you to give feedback, and that's fine. But let's say they ask you, oh, can you give me some feedback on this and this? Great. Remember to keep it constructive and solution focused. Okay. Observers should also share what they have learned, not just what they noticed. Okay. So yeah, I think many teachers, one of the reasons why some teachers don't engage in peer observation is that many teachers feel nervous, right, about being observed, especially if they know they are being evaluated. So it can be really reassuring to have this supportive talk. Okay, setting clear expectations can reduce that anxiety. Okay, so for example, this could be just an example of something that the observer could share with their, observee. I really like the way you engage the quieter students. I wonder how they would respond if you tried more open-ended questions. Okay. So you are giving a suggestion, but without imposing. Why didn't you ask open-ended question? You see the tone that is different. It's aggressive. You don't want to be aggressive, right? So, and this is something that you could try together. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions, any comments so far? Let me see here. Yes, I will share this presentation with Simon, and then I don't know if will you be able to share with people, Simon?
Absolutely, yes, we can do that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, no problem. No problem. So this is the second step. Okay, it's like a reminder, just a reminder for us. The third step is use different observation formats. So remember that you can choose from various formats, okay, to suit your context, to suit your availability. So you may want to do a live observation, so watching the lesson in real time and taking notes. If your availability matches, so why not? You can have a video observation, so you get the recording of a lesson for later reflection, and then perhaps you can set up a meeting, a chat later on. Okay, but I would recommend, do not wait a long time to watch the lesson and to have a conversation. Okay, timing is really important. Timing is really important in observation. So if you decide to do a video observation, I would recommend try to observe, try to watch that lesson as soon as you can, if you can, on the same day or maybe on the next day maximum. Okay, do not wait 1 week to watch the observation. Okay, because the teacher that you are observing, for example, they might not even remember what they did, what happened in the classroom. Okay, if you ask me what I did last week in my I won't remember. Okay, so yeah, so timing is really important. And you may want to use a messaging platform to give feedback. Can you give me examples of messaging platform? I'm eliciting from you. Which ones can you think of? Oh, Discord. Okay, it wouldn't be my first choice, but all right. WhatsApp, yes, WhatsApp. Any other? Slack, yes, I like Slack. If you're in China, you might want to try WeChat. Yeah. There's also another one in China that it's used in China. It's Ding Talk. WhatsApp. Yeah, Line. What's that? I don't know this one, Simon. Line. Oh, is this used in China as well? Oh, Taiwan. Okay. So yeah, so you might want to do the feedback on the spot, but through this WhatsApp or a similar platform. Okay, what do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea? What are the affordances? What are the benefits of that? Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried using WhatsApp or Slack or another one, Discord, and what are the other ones you mentioned? Slack, yeah, Facebook Messenger. Yeah. Emails. Oh, I think emails can be a bit. It can be a bit, unless you are both online at the same time. Yeah, it could be Google Chat. I don't know Google Chat. What is Google Chat? Fajarudin. I don't know Google Chat. Can you explain on the chat box? Another format that you might want to try is paired observation. So it's basically observing each other and exchanging insights. Instead of one teacher observing the other, you exchange. Yeah, I will observe Maria, and then Maria will observe me. Okay, and then you exchange insights. Okay. Oh, Teams. All right. Teams. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So which of these, everyone, which of these formats do you feel most comfortable with and why? Okay. Which format? Can you share in the chat box? Live observation. Why? Lynn, why live observation? Okay, Gregory as well, live. Okay, but why? Okay, why would you be more comfortable with the live observations? We can observe their performance. But you can also observe teachers' performance through video observation. What's the difference? What is your perceived difference? I'm curious to know. Video observation is less invasive. Yeah, some might argue that. Yes. Yeah. Live observation is more real, and you can have confrontation, but just be careful with this confrontation. Okay. I think disagreements are okay, but just remember to keep it respectful and friendly. Yeah. Okay, very interesting insights. Great. Yeah. So for example, if you use WhatsApp or any other similar platform for messaging, so it could go something like that. Yeah, imagine a group of teachers watching a lesson. You might have a group of teachers watching the same lesson. How great would that be? I think that would be great. Watching the same lesson live. Yeah, and then they share their reflections, their observations, insights, questions in a WhatsApp group or in a Slack group. No, Slack. Do we have groups? Yeah, we have groups in Slack. Yeah. So their comments might look like that. Nice peer check activity, concept checking questions. Yeah. Students, you may want to observe students and make comments on them. Students are a bit confused, or students seem really engaged. Well done. Okay, so yeah, it could look like that. Video observation is more objective and leaves more room for detail. That's a very valid argument, Floriana. Thank you. Okay, making notes. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, another, so step four is, someone mentioned notes. Great. Take structured notes during observations. Okay. It can be really insightful to take notes during observations, be them live or delayed or through the WhatsApp group, or it doesn't really matter if it's handwritten. I love taking, if you see my desk, there are tons of handwritten notes. I love taking handwritten notes, when I'm observing my trainees, because it's messy. I understand it's very spontaneous. I don't have to worry about spelling or anything. Sometimes I just draw stuff, just write a symbol. So, but it's important. It's really, really good to take structured notes during observations, okay? And something very, very simple that you can try is using a table like this, okay? And really focus your observations. So for example, first column, what worked well. Second column, what challenges did I notice and what could be tried, or what would I try next time, okay? Or what would I do differently? So you might want to tweak that. But so rather than writing down everything you see, that can be very tiring and very overwhelming. So just use a template and go with it. Okay. So yeah, it could look like that. For example, students engage in discussions, X and Y. Students weren't participating, and then you can give more details, right? Maybe try a think, pair, share activity. And you may want to change, oh, sorry, I forgot this is not, I cannot edit, but you may want to change that. But it could be really, really useful to take structured notes. You may want to have how many times did the teacher blah blah blah, how many times did the teacher correct student mispronunciation, how many times did the teacher correct students vocabulary usage, etc. Okay, so yeah, and then you can reuse it. Yeah, you can reuse the template for different observations. What do you think of that? Do you think it's a good idea, or would you prefer just write whatever pops into your mind as you go along? Do you think that can be helpful? Yeah, you have used something like that. Yeah. It can be more complex. If you want to observe more areas, you can, of course, you can add more columns here, right? But yeah, that's just an idea to use a template. Step 5 is to make it a conversation, not just feedback. Okay, I really believe that this reflective talk, this dialogic talk is can be really insightful for both observer and observee. So yeah, make it a conversation. So feedback sessions should be interactive, right? It should be interactive, not just one person speaking and the other listening, but it should be a two-way street, I believe. Yeah. And ideally, it should encourage reflection from both sides, right? So, for example, instead of listing strengths and weaknesses, maybe you can try this approach, a more dialogic approach. Okay. So, for instance, if you're observing a colleague, ask your colleague's perspective first instead of you starting. So ask them first, how did that lesson feel for you? How did you like that lesson? Okay. And then you may want to compare observations. Yeah. So you may want to say something like that. I noticed students hesitated before answering. What do you think? Did you notice that too? Or did I miss something? Okay, so you may want to compare. And try to use open-ended questions to spark ideas. What might happen if you tried? Okay. Would you do this? Yes or no? Why? Oh, would you do this? It's not an open-ended, sorry. What would you do if your students blah, 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 right? So yeah, try to ask, you see, it's difficult. Try to ask open-ended questions. Let me see here. Diplomacy, yes, very good, very good. I think the intimacy of live paired observation allows for conversation, yeah? It not only provides learning for our peers, but also benefits bonds. I completely agree with you, Andy, between teachers, yes. I would say, yeah, if you choose the paired observation, choose someone you trust, choose a teacher you trust, choose a teacher that you respect, and maybe they don't have to be your friend, your best friend, but someone that you look up to, you admire, and that is mutual, right? Yeah, and ask if they are willing to observe you, if they are interested in observing you as well. Yeah, that's what we call, or you may want to choose a critical friend. Have you heard this word before, critical friend? Yeah, no, critical friend. A critical friend is often a colleague. It doesn't have to be a friend, yeah, but it's someone that you perhaps might work with, or or you might have worked together before, who can give you honest, constructive feedback, yeah, who will not sugarcoat the conversation, but at the same time, they will not criticize you or judge. So a critical friend is someone that you can trust for observation, and who can give you honest and constructive feedback. Okay. So do you think that you have a critical friend? Or can you think of someone who could potentially be a critical friend? You don't have to share their names, okay? Just think. They don't necessarily have to live in the same city you live. Maybe it's someone you've been talking a lot through social media. You follow each other on social media. You have similar perspectives, similar ideas in regards to teacher development. It doesn't have to be someone physically close to you. I mean, yeah. Yes, Michelle. Yes, we're more than critical friends. We're your best friends. But yeah, so yeah, so I think it's what I want to highlight here is to make it a conversation, right? Make it a dialogue, not a lecture. And my last step is try, if you haven't done that. No, it's not my last step. Sorry. No, sorry, not my last step. Try online peer feedback for busy teachers. Who is not busy, right? For all of us. So yeah, you might want to try Google Docs. I know everybody knows Google Docs. Docs, not dogs, to upload notes, add comments simultaneously. So share folder with them. And we've mentioned WhatsApp and Slack before, yeah? Quick reflection, or even Padlet, yeah? Good old Padlet. Share space for peer feedback as well. Yeah. So have you tried any of them for peer feedback? Have you used any of these platforms for peer feedback? So in this case, it would be written feedback, written reflections. Andy, I find it good to pair more experienced teachers with less experienced ones. More experience for what they have learned and less experience to bring this new, fresh ideas. Yes, yeah. I agree. Yeah. WhatsApps. Svetlana, WhatsApp. Okay. Yeah. So in case in-person meetings, are tricky for you, you may want to try those tools. And step 7 is to encourage reflection, not just evaluation. Okay. So it's to go a little bit deeper on beyond describing something that happened, but really trying to understand the reasoning, the rationale for certain choices that the teacher makes. Okay. So so reflection moves beyond what happened to why happened. Yeah. Ask why more often than what. So these are some reflective questions that you may want to ask the teacher you're observing. Okay. How did students react to your instructions or react to your questions? What strategies helped engage all learners? These are very broad questions. Okay, you can narrow them down to suit your context. I like the last one. If you taught this lesson again, what would you tweak? We usually ask this question to our CertiSol and CELTA trainees. What do you think of these questions? Do you think they encourage reflection or evaluation? I hope you say reflection, but let's see. Based on points 1 and 2. That's good. Yes. Yeah. Can you think of other questions, reflective questions that you can ask yourself, or you can ask a teacher that you are observing? Can you think of others? Oh, I like that, Simon. What do you think would happen if you, yeah. What do you think it would happen if you did not correct that whatever student's mistake? Yeah. Pronunciation mistake. Or what do you think would happen if you set up a bigger breakout room, right? Yeah. So very, very good question. Yes, very good question. Thank you for sharing, Simon. And yeah, encourage reflection. Shirley, if you were the student, how would you feel in this situation? Oh, very good, very good. Yeah. What do you think you would learn if you were a student in that lesson? Ooh, that's powerful. Yeah. How or what would you like to edit in your observed lesson? Very good, very good. Excellent questions, everyone. And now it's the last step. The last step is make peer observation a habit. Okay. And these are just some very simple strategies. So in order to make peer observation sustainable and to have long-term impact, I think it needs to be part of the teacher's routine, not a one-off event. You know, for example, every 2 months you do peer observation. So I think it could be really impactful if you make it a habit. Of course, something that suits your context, suits your availability. I'm not saying that you have to do peer observation every day, okay? I'm not saying that. I know this is unrealistic, but just think about how you could make it more sustainable. So start small. Start small. Perhaps you want to start observing 1 lesson per month, and that's fine. And then you can observe more lessons per month, yeah? Then maybe 2 lessons, 4 lessons, 1 per week. But start small. Pair up, so find your observation buddy, or a critical friend, or find someone who has similar goals as you have, who wants to develop professionally as well. Keep it informal, okay? Keep it informal. Focus on learning, not performance, okay? And my last strategy is to follow up. Don't observe and then say, okay, bye-bye, see you. What's the follow-up? Are you going to have a meeting? Are you going to have a chat over, WhatsApp or Slack? Are you going to have a pre-chat before you observe, or maybe a post-chat? So have a follow-up, okay? It could be a short chat, or even a voice note. It could be even a voice note. If you don't have time to type, to write, you might want to share a voice note with your friend. Yeah, if you're using WhatsApp, I think Slack, you can do that as well. Yes, you can share voice notes on Slack. DingTalk, I'm not sure. WeChat, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think most platforms allow, right, voice notes. Okay, so these are some steps. And with that, I think I finish. I hope you found it useful. Do we have any questions on the Q&A, Simon?
Yes, we do. Just before we get to the questions, just thank you for all of that wonderful information and all of those ideas and things for us to reflect on as well. A few of thoughts that came to my mind there. I really like how you're pointing out that we can all learn from observations. So, even as a very experienced teacher or trainer, we can go and watch someone that's fairly novice and see something and think that's fantastic, or maybe it's something that I haven't done for a while and I should be doing a bit more of that. Now I see the value of it. So I loved that. And also the idea that peer observation can also lead to affirmation. So you can see that, as you said before, sometimes it can be a bit isolating. Even working in a school, you might together in the staff room talk, but in the classroom, it's kind of you alone. So having someone else observe you, or you observing someone else and think, oh yeah, that's how I do it. And if they're doing it and you're doing it, maybe it's a good thing that you're both
doing something right. Yeah.
Those kind of things, which is great. And one of the questions that has come up, I guess, from a couple of people is about the ideal duration. I mean, we all know that on a CERT TESOL course or on a DIP TESOL course, they can be as little as 20 minutes or up to an hour long observations.
Yeah.
Is there an ideal? Is there value in someone coming in for 10 or 15 minutes? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it is valid. I think it's valid. I think you don't have to observe a full lesson if you don't have the time for that. You might want, that's why I said focus your observation, right? You might want to focus on, I want to observe the free practice, okay? And that might take 10, 15 minutes. Or I want to observe the pre-teaching of vocabulary. So I think it is valid. It depends on your focus, right? It depends on your focus. But even if it's 5 minutes, but if we can see so much in 5 minutes of of an observation, so much can happen,
Absolutely.
right?
And I guess it's interesting as well, a couple of people asking, and I think you've mentioned it earlier, that in terms of what to look for, it could be that you as the observer, you want to look for something because maybe you've heard that one of your colleagues or a peer does something particularly well and you want to see them do it. Or it
Yeah.
could be you as the observer, as an observee, I suppose, the person being observed, when you say, there's something, I'm not quite sure about how I'm doing this. Can you come in and see it? Can you check what
Mhm.
I'm doing? So it works both
Yeah.
ways, I
Both
suppose.
ways.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
one of the questions that's come up though is you had that wonderful list of things that people could be looking out for, and everyone here was joining in with, error correction and how to use
Yeah.
emergent language and the use of the board and things. Is there an ideal of number of things that you could ask to be observed upon or that you should be focusing on? Because it seems like there's so many things that it could become overwhelming if you're trying to look at everything.
Yeah. I would suggest not to focus um on more than two areas, I would say. And as long as they kind of match, they are kind of connected, it can be very overwhelming. Yeah, very
Right.
overwhelming,
And,
especially depending on how long you observe the lesson, right? So if you observe a full lesson, it's you have to to pay attention the whole time, so it can be and you can collect so much data. So I would say no more than two areas. Yeah, but one
and
area is ideal, I would say.
And that sort of reflects what happens quite often on, say, a Cert TESOL course, right? The teacher trainer is watching everything, but very regularly
Watch
there's kind of a
everything.
report at the end saying, well, you're doing really well here. That's fantastic. Next time, I'm really going to be focusing on these kind of 2 or 3 action
Yeah,
points
exactly.
that's going on there, which is really
Yeah,
nice to see as well. And I think that kind of leads me to this idea as well that actually, as you pointed out, that learning to observe and learning to give feedback is actually quite it takes quite a lot of practice, doesn't it? And that does form part of, becoming a trainer, that kind of idea from
yeah,
teacher to trainer. And actually, peer observation can be a really nice way of practicing this so that if you do step into the world of training on a Cert TESOL or a Dip TESOL, any of those kind of, or even internal training, it's a really good step, I think.
it is absolutely, it is, because we tend to be judgmental. Yeah, it's natural. We want to evaluate
Mm,
people, but with peer observation, and the more you observe, the more you learn, right? I think we learn to be more, to listen more, and to step back, and to engage more, rather than imposing our views, because we don't know everything, right? No matter how experienced we are. So I think it's a great learning experience for both people. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. And learning how to ask those reflective questions, like the models that you had, and what works,
Yeah.
and tweaking things and doing that. I think that's all part of growing as a teacher and a teacher trainer and an educator in all.
Yeah.
All right, at that point, we're just over the hour now. So thank you to everyone that's joined us live today. A reminder that a recording of this webinar will be automatically sent to you, as will a certificate of attendance. And a huge thank you to you, Cecilia, for sharing all of your thoughts, ideas, and
Pleasure.
practical things that we can all now take back to our classrooms, institutions, and share with our peers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I will share the slides with you, and then you share with people.
Oh yes, fantastic. Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, if you share the slides with us, we will put them on the Transformative Teachers website
Okay.
when the recording goes up, which will be in probably about a month or so, something like that.
Okay. So you have
That's
to wait.
great. Thank you
Thank
very much,
thank
everyone.
you,
Enjoy the
everyone.
rest of your mornings, days, evenings, and I look forward to seeing a lot of you next month for the next Trinity College London Transformative Teachers webinars. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.